So I haven't really gone out and had shawarma from a restaurant in a few years. The reason is I finally found a recipe that I make all the time. I enjoy it. It all has to do with the type of meat you're using, the layers, the percentage, all of that. It's wonderful, it's tasty, it looks amazing, and it's real easy to do. And you're doing it on a rotisserie in your backyard. For backyard rotisseries, I like to use leg of lamb and rump roast beef. A lot of people have tried to grind the beef and grind the lamb and put it on a horizontal spit. It works great at the shops on a vertical spit because the gravity holds everything together. On a horizontal spit, it kind of just starts to fall off. So on a horizontal spit with sliced lamb and beef, every slice is penetrated with the spit and with the spit forks. So what's great about this is the lamb and the beef are pressed together pretty hard with their seasonings, and the lamb's fat starts melting and going through the whole beef. And because it's on a rotisserie spinning, the juices just keep getting cooked onto the meat as it rotates. And that's our goal, and that's the flavor we're looking for. So again, we're gonna be using leg of ram and rump roast. And the reason we're gonna use the leg of lamb with the rump roast, the fats in the leg of lamb are gonna keep the meat moist. We're gonna be using about 3 pounds of total, 1.8 pounds of rump roast, 1.2 pounds of leg of lamb. This is going to feed about 6 people. So this is a 60-40 ratio. And the reason, the lamb adds that little bit of flavor that, when you have shawarma, you can't put your taste buds on it, but it's something there. Again, you don't want to use too much lamb. It's too strong, but at the same time, if you use too little, it won't taste the same. If you don't have the option to have leg of lamb, you could use lamb shoulder. If you don't have an option for rump roast, you could do some other cuts of roast. You just don't want it to be too lean. You could do chuck, but chuck's hard to slice sometimes. Sirloin's fine, but really you want that kind of fat of both of these, and you just want to go too lean. So think about that. It's very important. Now, we're gonna cut all these in about a 1/4 inch slice. I have a leg of lamb right here that is boneless. And so I left this semi-frozen so that I could cut down through the lamb and it'll hold together while I slice it. It was trussed and netted before. On the rump roast, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna slice right down through here. It is not frozen, so I will be making tiny pieces that will lay out nice and fine on the spit. So when the spit goes through, we'll keep laying them out and you'll see how that goes. We're gonna do one more slice. That'll get us at 1.8. Close. 1 pound 8 ounces is what we're looking for. 1.3, do one more. Again, we wanna use a sharp knife and slice it so that the spit rod goes right through here. That's great on the beef. We'll set it to the side, and then we're going to do the lamb. I have this paper on here so I don't contaminate my scale so much. You can see the fat content of this lamb is really nice. And like I said, I kept it frozen so that I could slice it out and keep it all together so I can put it on the spit. We're at 8.6 ounces right now, so maybe one more slice, we'll see. 1.1, so we're at 11 ounces. Do one more. Again, it's semi-frozen so that I can slice it. It's 15 ounces. We'll flip to the other side. So, because the center is more frozen. There's 1.15 ounces. 1 pound, 1.5 ounces. So that's pretty close. So we're just gonna go right there. We're actually gonna take that off and we're gonna go right there at 1.24 ounces. So this is our shawarma meat. These we'll put back into the freezer. We're gonna talk about the spice blend now. We're gonna start with cumin and coriander. Does it warm, earthy kind of taste that is distinct and feels great in this. We're gonna use the paprika for the color. We're gonna use the turmeric for that kind of bitter part, that flavor, that contrast to the sweetness of the cumin and the coriander. We're gonna add cinnamon. It's the surprise part of most of these shawarma recipes is a little bit of cinnamon. Kind of gives you that flavor that you wonder what is that flavor and you can never figure it out. It's the cinnamon. We're also gonna add garlic, salt, black pepper. We're gonna go through all of those and add them into one bowl and mix them up. So here's the ingredients. 3 pounds of meat, 2 teaspoons of cumin, 2 teaspoons of coriander, 2 teaspoons of paprika, teaspoons of turmeric. We will make sure we get all that in there. Half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1.5 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of, I'm actually using sea salt, natural sea salt, and then 1 teaspoon of black pepper. And all of that is in here. We're gonna mix it up, and then we're gonna get ready to season every slice on each side. And there we go. We have it all mixed up. Looks like I should have put a little more in there. And that's our seasoning right here. So I like to lay my slices out, beef on one side and my lamb on the other. And we're going to season these lightly on every side. We don't want to over season any one piece. And we have to try to get all the seasoning on all of this meat right here, all 3 pounds of this meat. What we're gonna do is we're gonna season pieces on both sides, and then we're gonna let them kind of rest and absorb that seasoning. So right here, I'm doing the beef. You can see I'm not too heavy on it. I'll rub it around, rub it in, and then make sure that everything's kind of coated, but we don't want to overdo. We just want to kind of sprinkle it on each side and make sure everything is coated, because this is the good flavor part of this. We'll do the same thing on the lamb. I will show you on the lamb. We're going to put it all on there. It's the same kind of coating, and then we're going to rub it in. That way we make sure we got it all covered over. Not too much, don't want to make it too strong, but also not enough, and it just won't taste the same. As we're seasoning this, we can talk about having to let it rest for 30 minutes here, but if you go an hour, great. If you even go overnight, more flavor from the seasoning is going to get into the proteins, into the lamb and the beef, and it's going to taste amazing. We're going to let this go for half an hour because of video reasonings, and then we'll go back to that in just a few minutes. So this is where it gets fun. We're gonna start loading the spit. We're gonna layer with beef, then lamb, then beef. The beef is there for the structure, the lamb is there for the fats to melt and baste the meats while it's rotating on the rotisserie. Then when we go to serve it, we're gonna slice it right off the outside edge where all that good cooked crust is, and it's gonna be delicious for sure. So we're just doing alternating lamb, beef. We're gonna push this in real tight. We're gonna get all the air out of here. That way it cooks evenly all the way through. We're just gonna keep layering and layering and layering. So we're gonna continue layering the beef and the lamb and the beef and the lamb. And I picked a spot on my spit that will fit center into my grill. The reason I did that was so that the hottest point is kind of covering the whole spit. That way nothing gets overcome, because we're looking for like a form. We want it uniform. We're gonna kind of smush these edges around a little bit, pack them in once it's all stacked, and it should cook evenly this way. That's the goal. So one of the things about this is the shape does matter. We want to have a uniform shape. Again, that way it cooks even, and so I'm rotating the spit around so that I try to get all the meat kind of even around the spit as we stack it. This is the lamb. Here's another beef, a little rump roast, last piece of lamb. We're gonna lay it like that. And then the last piece of beef right here. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our other fork and we're gonna slide it on in here and make sure we squish this down and push everything nice and tight into this little ball that will feed 6, because it's only 3 pounds of meat. And we'll tighten that up nice and tight. And now you have a very uniform, tapered in gyro. So now that I have all the meat on here, I'm gonna push all of this tight. I'm also gonna taper it on the ends to make sure it cooks evenly. We want it nice and tight, no air in there at all. There we go. We're gonna tighten this up and tighten this up. It's gonna be wonderful. So I had to go get my butcher twine. I'm also going to go ahead and truss this a little bit with butcher twine just to keep that shape. We want to make sure that shape is held well. And the way to do that is to truss it with butcher twine or a net. You could use a net. I prefer butcher twine. That way I can tie everything in that I want tied. We're going to go ahead and pull this around, and then I want to see where I want to go like this here, and we're going to tie all these little pieces in, and then I'm going to tie it off in the center where I left my string attached. We're going to go one more time right here. I'm pulling in this little one right here, and now everything's nice and tight. and I am going to go ahead and tie this off. Now, before I can slice all the meat off while it's on the spit, I'm gonna have to cut the butcher twine, and I'll just let it unravel while it's rotating on the spit. I have the grill sitting here. It's been sitting here for about an hour, resting out at between 375 and 400. And now we're gonna put this tight pet spit in, and we're gonna let it rotate. Now, if the temperature is too low, if it's down 325, it's gonna take longer. You're not gonna get that fat rendering. But if it's way too high, it's also just gonna be too hot. It's gonna burn the outside without the inside getting cooked. And we're gonna take the inside to an internal temperature of about 140 degrees. So we're gonna go ahead and lay this in to the spit. I'm gonna put the spit into the motor right now, and I'm gonna put the resting in there. See how I have it offset from the fire. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn the spit on, and there we go. We're gonna come check on it in about. All right, here's the first check-in. It's gonna look a little bit gray and not normal, but we've only been in it for about 15 to 20 minutes. Things are starting to golden up. As you can see, it's already starting to golden up on the outside. This is check-in 2, and this is where it's kind of cool about it. So you get to see that brown now instead of the gray. Brown turned into darker brown. This is where the fats, especially the lamb fat and the spices, are joining to caramelize the outside of this lamb and beef. And you can see, right now I could spray it down with some olive oil to help that along. But as you can see, it has plenty of fat in it. The lamb juice is just rolling over. As it's rolling, it just keeps coming up on. So it's never dripping. You could use a drip pan if you want. If you're doing this on a gas grill, I probably would suggest you use a drip pan. This is being done on a Kamado, so I'm getting that kiss of the juices burning off on the coal, the lump coal below. Right, we're gonna come check in again in about 15 minutes and see if we're close to being able to slice it up. So this is wonderful. It's golden brown. It's got that dark crust on the outside. It's not too shiny. We're gonna be up at around 145 degrees internal temperature for lamb and beef, but I can tell you right now, we're pretty close to there just by the look of the crust. So I've already untrussed it so that the string's out of the way. I'm gonna go ahead and put a stop to this rotisserie spinning. I'm gonna cut a little bit off. Now, if you've made it this far, please subscribe, as I do patio cooks all the time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop the pit, and I am going to grab a plate right here, and literally with a sharp, sharp knife, I am just gonna start slicing off a little bit. Now, I never slice it all off because I just like it to spin more and make more crust, and then also it won't dry out so much. And it's looking wonderful. You want to use a pretty sharp knife. It is crusty on the outside, so we want to make sure and get a good slice out of here. And I like to stop the pit to do that and just keep getting. So with that 60-40 mix, we will get a little taste of everything in this cut. We're gonna rotate a little bit more. All right. Look at all that. Nice and juicy, really moist. Looks amazing, fantastic. We're gonna cut this right here a little bit, and then we're gonna close this up and let it spin. So I have pita bread here, but it's a little bit cold. We're actually just got in the middle of a rainstorm, and temperatures drop. And cold pita does not fold very well. So what I do, if it's on the gas grill, I put it on the grate for about 30 seconds, let it heat up. But on the Kamado here, I stop the spit, and I put it on top of the spit and let it warm up. And then I bring it over, start the spit back up, and bring it over. There it goes. And then I'm gonna make my pita. For me, I gotta put the sauce on first on the bottom. And the reason for that is because it kind of just squishes out all over the place. And I really like it. This is tzatziki sauce, a nice little cucumber sauce. I put it on the bottom. Then I go ahead and layer in my meat, and we'll layer that in like that. You can tell I like a lot of meat. It's pretty good stuff. Then I'm gonna go ahead and put a couple Kalamata olives in here, and then I'm gonna put 2 slices of tomato like that. And I like to break up my purple onions a little bit and lay them in here. And there we have it, shawarma sandwich. Nice little one. I'm gonna add a little more parsley to it. I didn't add it earlier. This is one of my favorite meals, and I'm gonna take a bite here. And I'm gonna tell you, the spice with the lamb and the beef are perfect balance here. A little bit of that tzatziki sauce in there. You could also use a garlic sauce if you want to. Got a little onion in there, but man, the flavor of the lamb and beef. The shawarma with the seasonings is just amazing. It's so good. It's very good. All right, well, the full recipe is in the comments. Everything from the types of meats to the amount of seasonings, what type of seasonings, it's all in there. So if you want to see more of this content, please hit subscribe. Thanks.